everybody.
Hello.
I feel a lot better because this episode of Dynamite was a lot better than the last one, and so if you all liked our last episode, I feel like you're gonna love this one. I don't know because there's actually things that I want to talk about. So how are you today?
I'm doing good. We're here. It's Wednesday. It's Wine Wednesday, and
Ooh,
we're out here. I don't
what are
have
you
wine,
drinking?
but
Oh, I was about to say,
I have
what are you?
water. Stay
Okay,
hydrated, everyone.
I have Powerade. It's okay.
Because we need to power through all these matches that Tony Khan put on the card this week.
Period. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. So, we're going too far above. Okay. All right. So we have a loaded card today. I'm assuming I call this the apology card. Like when your parents know that they're wrong, but they don't actually apologize, so they just buy you something.
It's like I
feel like that was what we were doing. This was the apology card.
It's like when Robin Thicke wrote that album for his wife that he cheated on. The apology album.
The Paula apology album, and she didn't take him back. Like I said, I'm still not convinced, Mr. Sir, but this was a step in the right direction. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. We kicked off with the AEW World Championship match. We had MJF going up against Daniel Garcia. Now, leading into this match, I don't know, there was a lot going on both on social media as well as right before this. There was promos. It was like, I don't know, AEW said they busting out with they XXL freshman class. The picture was cute. I should have put the picture up here, but it was cute of all the young guys, the under 30 guys who are supposed to be the future. You had obviously MJF and Daniel Garcia up there. There was Wheeler Yuta, Nick Wayne. I saw Dante Martin.
Hook with his hood up.
Isaiah Cassidy, Vikingo. Now he don't even work there. Who else was in there? I said Nick Wayne. Anyway, you get the drift. You can find it on social media if you didn't. But it was everybody. They were just like, we doing this for the youth. We doing this for the youth. We doing this for the hood. This for Miss Gladys. All that.
I feel like we need to take it back to Friday on Rampage when we saw Daniel Garcia put out his open challenge to MJF for a title match. Daniel Garcia said he has a fetish for gold. Period. He was coming for MJF, and I wasn't expecting this from Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia, he really hasn't been in the championship mix for a while now. And it was interesting to see him step up to the plate and get his title shot so soon because it's like America's Next Top Model for MJF's title. You got Hobbs, you got Jay White, you got Wardlow. You have every single person who doesn't have anything really going on or does have things going on ready to take on MJF at any time. So it was very interesting that Daniel Garcia kind of danced his way to the front of the line, as I should say, and took on MJF tonight. But bad bitches were out. They were out.
America's Next Top Model is crazy. I can't believe that you said that. But I do think that if anybody won this match, it was you. Because the amount of girls that popped out in them bad bitches for Daniel Garcia shirts, you were the real winner, honestly. Like I feel like you really won this match. Like no matter what happened, you won. So how do you feel to be the leader of the bad bitches? How does that feel?
You know what? It is a title that I will gladly carry. Daniel Garcia loves this shirt. He's seen it. A lot of people have it. I'm very appreciative. Shop.wrestlingwinedownlv.com if you want it. But I love these shirts because they're so girly. And when Iridian saw it, because I had tuned out for a minute, and she was like, "Excuse me, your shirt is on TV." And I was like, "What?" She was like, "Someone's in the front row wearing your shirt." And the girl had sent me the picture earlier, so I was aware that she was there. I didn't know she was actually front row. I almost fell to my knees, almost clutched my
nose
in Walmart.
I said, that's right. Y'all up front with the insane. The bad bitches are here. This is a movie.
Reporting for duty.
We're reporting for duty. But this match was good. I will say it was a lot shorter than I thought. I think I was waiting. I said, oh, they really about to switch into second gear. And then I'm like, what happened? Like it was over.
I wasn't expecting this to be the first match on the card.
Me neither.
You were, but yeah, it was so quick. I was like, what? They're going first?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, MJF had a busy night, so.
He had a busy night. He's a very, very busy bee. He makes me tired just watching him on Dynamite. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Like today drained me.
That's why I just be like, you wouldn't have to be that tired if you showed up to the other shows, but Anyway, this was great. 2.0 had to get involved at the end. Now I don't understand why that happened. He went to Daniel Garcia went to go shake MJF's hand. They were like, no, you can't. But here's the thing. I thought what was very interesting, if you saw the pre-match promo before this, Daniel Garcia said, you're going to get a wrestler today.
We back. We up.
But you're going to get a wrestler. And I said, oh, we are so back. But yeah, I would like to see these two have a rematch. I like it to be longer. I always feel like when you open the show, sometimes like you're always pressed for time because clearly like they tried to jam pack a lot into this Dynamite.
Agreed.
So, but it was good for what it was. I think that it did exactly what it needs to do, which is remind everybody who the fuck Daniel Garcia is and that he should be treated like a major player going forward. But we need to get him away from 2.0. Anyways, up next, we had a fantastic segment with Hikaru Shida, the current AEW Women's World Champion, and Toni Storm had a sit-down interview with Tony Schiavone. This was in black and white.
Glamour, baby, glamour.
Listen, she said, Tony said, I couldn't make history, so I became history. I said, now that's a bar, baby. That's a bar. That's a bar.
Her and Juice are probably like, what can we say?
I know it's so
to get those people going.
I think about them all the time. I'm like, I know their house fun as hell. I know they just be laughing, giggling, like just. I know their house is fun as hell.
Keying it up, legs just all kicked up, kicking in the air.
Like they just be
get them this week.
They be trying different material on each other, like. And it's only funny because I've only seen them work together once, but it was at the New Japan Resurgence show, and I was like, "Oh, these two are wacky." Like that's why when I went to the Forbidden Door scrum, like I asked Tony, I said, "Are y'all gonna ever do this again on camera? Because like, please, because y'all are really funny like apart, and I really think that y'all could be really funny together." But anyway, they had this. Shout out to Shida. Like she's really over the last, I would say, a few years, really been working on her English. She's been doing a lot more interviews lately, a lot more American press because she's become so strong with her English. Really trying to be just the total package. And like, I think that she's just absolutely incredible. Like, I mean, I don't mind her doing promos in Japanese as long as like they provide the subtitles now because I don't be knowing what's going on, but I want to. But yeah, this was great. And they both were serving the looks.
They sure were.
Tony Schiavone looked just so exasperated, as he always does at this job. He always just looks so exasperated. But this looked exactly. They finally inked the match in stone. It's going to be.
I know was your concern last week. Are we really going to get a match?
I just thought it was. I did believe we was going to get a match, but I was wondering if somebody else was going to be added or subtracted because all we kept seeing, the only graphic that we got was Toni Storm gets her Hollywood homecoming at Full Gear, but it was no actual match. So I'm like, what's going on here? Is it going to be a triple threat or something? Is this somebody we don't know about? But it's finally been etched in stone. It's going to be timeless Toni Storm versus the current AEW Women's World Champion Hikaru Shida. There was a lot of women's action on this card tonight.
There was. Tony been on his Zoom. Okay, he been on his Zoom the whole time.
And so I was very pleased with this. Moving forward, we had a quick squash match. We had Sting and Darby Allin versus the Outrunners. Of course, they have a Full Gear match coming up. They will be teaming with Adam Copeland up against Christian and his goons, aka Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne. Now, the goons, the fatherless goons, okay? The Christian and his kids. And so, his kid and his dinosaur.
I mean, this match was interesting. So the Outrunners, I actually saw them for the first time live. Well, actually, it was the first time in general when I was at All Out in Chicago, and I was so intrigued. It's giving like 80s wrestler. I like the gimmick. It's different. It was an okay match. I mean, it wasn't anything like over the top. I think they got the job done.
You know, it was a squash.
Yeah.
I will say, like, I think, and I've been saying this for a while, I think that Rick Boogs from WWE would fit in, who was formerly from WWE, would fit in great with these guys on Ring of Honor.
I agree. That'd be a really good addition.
They could be a great team for the trio, for that 6-man division in Ring of Honor, because they still need to flesh it out a little bit.
Right.
And I think this whole like trying to have teams jump back and forth between AEW and ROH, shit doesn't work all the time. So they need some teams specifically for ROH. I think that, you know, as soon as his non-compete is over, just for ROH now, Tony, because sometimes you get trigger happy with signing folks. I said just ROH. But yes, I think that could be good. Yeah. Moving on. We had, now I think this is probably the best wrestling match on the card, like by far. Tonight we had Swerve Strickland versus Penta El Zero Miedo. Now listen, whoa. Well done. I don't know. I don't even know what else to say. Well done.
So it was interesting. Before the match started, it was stated that Hangman was not allowed at ringside because Swerve Strickland broke in Adam Page's house. Hangman is not allowed at ringside. Doesn't make any sense. But this match was so good. They have very good chemistry together. Very good chemistry.
It doesn't surprise me, though, because, you know, Swerve is very, very good at that lucha style.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he became a lot of people's favorite wrestler, including Jon Moxley's during his stint in Lucha Underground as Killshot. Penta was also had a great stint in, like, Lucha Underground. So I thought that their styles would mesh well, but I'm going to be honest, like, these last couple of weeks, Penta just seems to be very reinvigorated because there was a while where he was just phoning it in, like, let me just go in, get my spots in, and get this check and go home. Where what Nene said, all I need is this water and my check. That's it. Just give me this water and my check. But he seems to be super inspired. That 3-way match that he had on Rampage against Van Kingo and Commander was so good. And what was that match where like Penta had his titties out and he went crazy? Like he ripped the shirt off and like it was a couple weeks ago. Who did he face?
I missed that one.
I think it might have been Jay White. I think it might have been the match versus Jay White. But yeah, so Penta's been on it. But like this match, listen, when Swerve did that little orange snap thing that Penta always do, but he did it, and then I heard the crack. Like I heard it. I heard it. Now that was music. That was music. Me, I got my fan out here. That's how I know. Woo! That was music. That was music. Just absolutely outstanding. Like what I love that Tony Khan is a lucha mark. And like he's always going to find some excuses to throw some luchadors and some lucha style matches in on Dynamite. And like this, it's been really heavy-handed lucha all year. And so I lived for this. Swerve obviously got the win here, but this match was absolutely excellent. I could watch these two wrestle all the time. All the time.
And then we had the cowboy who ran his ass out there. And I was like, here we go. It's on. Hangman came with the chair. He was wielding that chair.
Hangman.
Prince Nana said, Nana, I'm going to the back. I'm not getting hit by that chair today.
Evil Hangman Page. Oh, it just gets me so excited. It gets me so excited because y'all pushed him. He told y'all he was a very nice man. He told y'all that he was like, he doesn't like he doesn't like being overly violent, but then Jon Moxley pushed him and made him hang him from them ropes, and then he tried to go back to normal. He really tried to be cool with y'all, but then Swerve came out of nowhere and keep pushing this man, and so now he's going fully crazy. He's going fully insane, and it's all y'all fault. And now he out here knocking people off the stage and stuff through tables in his all black.
Yes. He was looking sharp in his all black. I know that's right. I like seeing this side of Hangman because we're so used to this nice, sweet cowboy. He comes out, he does his matches. He just seems like a so sweet human being with his nice little jeans on, with all the little designs that I absolutely love. But then you get this raw and rugged side to him when he gets pissed off. And I feel like that's when he's at his best, in my opinion. Like, you have pissed off the nice cowboy.
There's nothing like a man who can serve aggression in a Dolly Parton shirt and some butterfly jeans. Like,
yes,
I think I love that about the Elite, is because like they play with their looks more than I think just about any other man on the roster. Of just they're really not scared to try new things, really take fashion risks, but they can be the most aggressive people. Like when Kenny Omega got had a full cosplay and extension at Wrestle Kingdom and literally rammed a man's skull through a Japanese wooden table, like gleefully, I said, oh, that's history. That's history. That's what I come to see. Like when Hangman, when he had his new entrance music and his new outfit against Mox and then hung a man, I said, oh, now that's history. That's history. You know, and so very well done. These two are going to fight forever. I'm interested to see. I think that most likely Hangman will pick up the win at Full Gear. Just my prediction. I think they'll go 1-1, and they'll probably have a rubber match. I don't know. Swerve will probably win it, and Hangman will go further into insanity. And you know. That's just my prediction, though. I might be wrong. But I do think that it's not over after 4.
No, I don't think so either.
Absolutely. And, like, they would be stupid to, like, this feud has been for the bad bitches, truly. Like, I feel like they would be stupid to leave meat on the bone, you know?
No, I mean, I think we've seen a lot of growth from Swerve Strickland. I think I said it last week, too. We look at, his history. He was in WWE a couple years ago, and now he's in AEW, and I really do think that he could be the first Black AEW champion.
Absolutely.
I think he has all the potential in the world. I think that this pairing of him and Prince Nana and the Gates of Agony, it's been really good to see. And his in-ring style is great. I feel like he has those one-liners that we were talking about that really captivates the online audience as well as the in-person and the TV watchers. So I'm eager to see it. I think you have a lot of people that like Swerve. You have a lot of people that like Hangman. So you're gonna have to choose a side. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely. But before we get into the rest of the card, let's read. Ooh, that's my face. Let's read some Slam chats. So we have one. Timeless Tony Storm playing the role of Trish Stratus in the storyline with Mariah May as Mickie James is going to be the stuff of legend based on their individual talents as performers in and out of the ring. Lo said this.
I did.
You tweeted about this. I think that was super, super important. I think it's super real too. And I also think like people have to remind themselves that Trish and Mickie did that with almost nothing. Like the girls were barely getting time. Like, they were living within so many restrictions, and then they still created an iconic story that we're still talking about decades later. And so I hope AEW knows that, and we're going to talk about this more later, but I hope AEW knows that they have the opportunity to be able to do that times a million. Like, you have an opportunity to give this trope, like this story, the time that it deserves. Like, give the matches the time that it deserves. Like, they have a really unique opportunity to, to tell this type of story. And so I hope they don't waste it. We'll get more into that later, but you definitely said it on Twitter earlier today.
We've been fighting for our lives on Twitter today.
child, the ghetto. The ghetto. Whew. You're not wrong.
We'll get to that.
Absolutely. Speaking of the ghetto, we had a Golden Jets promo.
Breathe.
Woo!
You want to have a heart attack? I'll take it.
So what had happened was, so Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho was up in there talking about some. Y'all guess y'all thought we ain't had no friends. We got Kota Ibushi and Paul White popping up. Now I don't know why that was meant to be intimidating, but that's what we had going on. Yada yada yada. Don Callis.
Kenny was wearing a shirt this week.
He was wearing a shirt this week.
Rare occasion.
Tomato,
he looked like the little emoji with a little standing man. Like he looked like he was just out of place. Like, when is it my turn to talk?
I think that Kenny is so funny because, like, when he does talk, he's always so articulate and like he says exactly what he means to say. But when he's not talking, you can't tell that a single thought goes through that brain. Like, the way that he stares off into space is scary. And you know what's a great example? Have you ever seen his interview with Swerve on Swerve's podcast? And so, like, I guess like there's a TV on often to the distance off camera that we can't see. However, like, Kenny's staring at the TV and like people are talking around him, and it doesn't look like a single thought is going through his mind.
Disassociation, Kenny. He has it down.
You know what? Even more recent example, the Wrestle Dream Scrum, right? So like Chris Jericho was going off on a tangent talking about like, you know, his entire career. And like he's mentioning Kenny, like, yeah, we were there. But Kenny's just standing there like I'm like, bro, does he not? But the thing is, like, he clicks right back in and just like answers his part of the question like right afterwards, but he just be gone.
He's standing on business, but he ain't paying attention to business. Okay, he will get on top of the business when it's time. And I appreciate that.
You know what? That's exactly what Matt Jackson said when he comes out of nowhere. Said, "You want to talk about friends? What happened to your old friends?" Now let me tell you something. That when Matt Jackson is in his bitter, messy bitch bag, there's nothing better. There's nothing better. Like when he starts getting messy and be like, "Hey, you remember me? I thought we were friends. Remember me?" Like when Matt Jackson start getting real messy like that, everybody needs to wake up because nobody does it better than him. And then like Nick ain't never gonna really say too much. He just gonna be like, "Yeah, that part." Mm-hmm. He just
that is his contribution to the sassy man apocalypse. Absolutely. I appreciate it.
He is just going to be, you know, because everybody needs that amen corner. You know, you always have the vocal friend, and then you have the amen corner. Like I feel like, you know, that's just how this goes. And so then they start arguing with Matt Jackson. Matt Jackson start arguing with Chris Jericho and say, "Yeah, me and Kenny will beat you right now. We'll beat y'all." Kenny said, "Who said that?"
Kenny said, "It's time for me to pay attention." Who? What?
He said, "No." He said, "Now I get in it." You see how they put me in stuff? Now I get in it. And then he said, "Now, whoa. Okay, y'all. Like, I feel you. I understand you mad right now, but you know good and well you can't beat me." No, like, let's chill. I know you're upset. Y'all the best tag team or whatever, but you know you can't beat me. And the elite girlies know, if we want to go really, really back in the lore, the last time the Young Bucks tried this, whenever they try Kenny and a partner of his choosing, they lose. It happened in New Japan when the Golden Lovers went up against the Young Bucks. One of the greatest tag team matches of all time, by the way. Absolutely. Like, if you don't listen to anything else I say, please go watch it. It's on New Japan World Fighting Spirit Unleashed 2018, I believe. I think it happened in Las Vegas, if I'm not mistaken. No, it was in California. And then, obviously, Revolution 2020, Hangman and Kenny Omega versus the Young Bucks. Another one of the greatest tag team matches of all time. Highly recommend going back and watching that as well. Both times, Young Bucks lose. So, like, Kenny's like, okay, I love y'all, but I know it ain't who I think it is. And he said, while you at it, you a messy, sassy bitch, and you need to grow up.
He said that in the PG version. Don't worry, he didn't actually say that.
That's essentially what he said. That is essentially exactly what he said.
You know, Kenny seems like Kenny is the person who at the end of the show is like, toodaloo, goodbye, go home, safe travels. And to see him like that, you're like, Kenny, that side of you must have struck a nerve.
I don't want no problems. And then, man, it was just so funny because he was like, y'all got a new name or whatever. And like, it's so funny because Chris Jericho definitely did trademark that name a couple weeks ago. So they really are the golden gems because one thing about Chris Jericho, he keep a trademark on him. He do keep a trademark on him, just like he just went back and trademarked the Jericho. But anyway, we came out of this match with the news of they kept one-upping each other and said, you know what, let's put up the ante on this. Let's up the ante on this. So we're going to have the Golden Jets, Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega versus the Young Bucks at Full Gear. And if the Young Bucks win, Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega will not team together anymore, and Kenny will, quote unquote, come home and, you know, join his elite brethren again. Now, if Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho win, they will inherit the title shot for the tag team titles at any chance that they want that the Young Bucks won at Wrestle Dream. Mm-hmm. So that's where we are. This is going to be a very, very, very messy match, and I can't wait.
You know, I wasn't expecting this match on the Full Gear card. I think with, you know, Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega going up against the Don Callis family, if you've seen that graphic, you'll see that it's Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, Coda, and Paul White. And then on the other side, you have Don Callis alone. None of his family is there, which has gotten a lot of slack online, rightfully so. But I really thought that we would see some type of rematch with the Don Callis family at Full Gear, but that's not to say that they won't get involved in this match with the Young Bucks. But it is very interesting timing, seeing as though the street fight is occurring next week in Ontario, California, and Full Gear is the same Saturday of the week in Los Angeles. So
it's very peculiar, and also we still don't know what's going to happen at Collision.
We're here.
Collision and Rampage. Because that's going to be, so essentially we're looking at a 3-hour Rampage, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
On next Friday.
On that Friday, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot happening here. I think we only have confirmed for partners, so we have Takeshita, Hobbs, Kyle Fletcher, and who is it? Oh, they said Sammy coming back. Oh, yeah. Damn.
They did say Sammy is coming back.
Oh, okay. Well, we can't have Paul. Well, what else was I going to say? Oh, yeah. And so this match, the big 8-man match, apparently is going to be sponsored by some video game.
Yes, you know, that I really liked that promo. It was very different from what we usually see in wrestling. I thought they did a really good job of tying everything in. It was unexpected to see it. I didn't see a lot of feedback online. I was a little bit away during that part, but I did really appreciate it. I thought it was different from what we usually see on the programming.
I liked it too. I'm going to be honest. I don't know much about video games. There's a few that I keep up with, but I don't know much about video games, but I do know a lot about Kenny Omega. So whenever he does those little gaming streaming things that he does, I be watching. Now, I don't be knowing what's going on. I don't be knowing what's going on. Like when he did that last thing playing that man, what was that black man name? Demetrius something. Johnson, I think he was playing him in something.
I have no idea. I don't know that man. Like Kiki Palmer said.
Yeah, but it was something. And then he was some gaming thing. And you know what? I watched it. I can't tell you what happened. I can't tell you anything that happened. But I'm going to stick beside him in anything that he do. So I know that this video game stuff, it makes him really happy. That's where he was. After All Out, when he had a chunk of flesh missing from his wrist, that first place where he was, Sega in Japan, that's where he went. And so wherever he is, that's where I'll be.
That's commitment.
Absolutely. Next, we had the meat match. The chants during this were amazing. Like, absolutely incredible.
I agree.
Meat forever. Slap that meat. Meat forever. Slap that meat. This was beautiful.
This was a very good match. This was Keith Lee's birthday today. I did say that I was fighting for my life on Twitter earlier. Keith Lee, this match ended with Keith Lee getting choked out. I put up a tweet that said, getting choked out on your birthday should be a crime. A lot of people seem to think that getting choked out on your birthday is actually pretty nice. You freaks. So
they was like, well, hey.
I was like, you know what? I'm signing out. Good night.
So let's not speak too fast, y'all. Let's not speak too fast. But no, this was the meat match.
Yes.
And you know what? I feel like it was a different tone than like the Miro versus Hobbs match, because I feel like, you know, Hobbs is still like not as experienced, and so it was still a great match, but like obviously, like, you know, there are some things that you know that maybe if they wrestled again, like they could probably do or do better. This was a veteran meat match. Like, this is experienced. This is like, we're looking at about 20-year vets, like on both sides, like meat match, you know? Like, this is steak. This is actually, no, like both were steak. So let's say like
this is like a porterhouse.
No, this is a tomahawk.
Okay, this is like a tomahawk. Okay.
Like with the big bone.
Okay.
With the big bone, the handle bone.
Uh-huh.
You know, like I feel like Hobbs and Miro, that was a filet mignon meat match. You know, like very good cut. Very good cut. But this right here, like,
this was a really good match. I felt like the flow was really good. The end shocked me. Not the choking part, but Samoa Joe.
I'm gonna be honest. Some people were trying to mansplain to me on the timeline and be like, "Well, I perfectly understood it." Well, that's good for you, ding dong. But for me, somebody who actually watches ROH, I genuinely believe that him vacating the title was a missed opportunity to create new stars and to put somebody over. Like, Samoa Joe now holds 2 of the longest reigning records for Ring of Honor. He's the longest reigning Ring of Honor World Champion, and he was the longest reigning Ring of Honor World Television Champion. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like and I know people are like, well, you have to keep him strong heading into MJF. Listen, who's gonna tell Samoa Joe he ain't strong? Which one of y'all gonna tell Samoa Joe he's not strong? What's not strong about Samoa Joe? Samoa Joe is what, 43, 44? Samoa Joe has been everywhere, done it all, like seen it all. Samoa Joe, he could win. He could lose every match from now until next December, and he could still be the most terrifying man ever. Like, I liken it to like Minoru Suzuki, like Murder Grandpa. Technically, he probably loses a lot of these showcase singles matches that he does on television. But does that make him any less aggressive or a threat to anybody? No. Do we still believe that he can kill anybody at any moment's notice? Absolutely. I feel the same way about Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe is Samoa Joe. He's one of the only people in AEW who you don't have to heat up, right? You don't have to build him. Like, his name just is so profound beyond in wrestling, period, to where like he can take a loss and still be just as frightening and terrifying as he was yesterday. And if you don't feel that way, then I don't know what to tell you. But
it kind of just makes me a little bit confused, because first of all, when he came out, they were mentioning that he's holding this title. He has a record. You know, he's held this title for 19 months, I think they said. But we've seen him face the likes of Keith Lee. We've seen him face Shane Taylor. We've seen him face people that he could have lost the title to instead of just relinquishing it to focus on MJF's world title. I didn't like how they did it. And furthermore, this is not a Ring of Honor show.
Ding dong, hello.
You just had one of your main champions, one of your longest reigning champions, just relinquish his title on an AEW show after he just won a match.
Yeah, I feel like outside of Athena and maybe Eddie, but his reign is still fresh, but he's defending the title tomorrow, so good.
Bad bitches, Freddie Kingston, rise up.
Hello. Strong. But I just don't see how putting any of these ROH belts on some of these majority AEW talents have helped ROH at all. Because by this point, you have now 2 acts on that poster for Final Battle that are no longer have championship. And that was the Hung Bucks, that's Samoa Joe, and MJF drops these titles at Full Gear. That's going to be them too. Come on now. I don't know what's going on.
Well, do you think that MJF is going to lose the tag titles?
I hope so. I
would love to see the Guns with some gold on him.
And it's not even that I want them to go to the Guns, but if you keep having him defend these titles by himself, there's no way that you can convince people and beating teams by himself. There's no way that you can convince people that the ROH tag belts are prestigious. Mm-hmm. And he still hasn't. You have to think he still hasn't defended these on Honor Club. He hasn't even made an appearance on Honor Club. He hasn't shown up to anything Ring of Honor related, and so it's just this has not helped ROH in any way. In fact, it's actually hurt ROH because you know what? The only ROH tag champions that they really had this year who really were defending the championships on ROH were Aussie Open. And honestly, ever since they took the belts off of Aussie Open, Honor Club ain't heard shit from the tag champs.
Yeah, you're right.
And it really sucks because like I said, Aussie Open were really awesome and they were really defending week in, week out. They were developing their own storylines on Ring of Honor. And so it sucks. But I mean, earlier today, the chairman, or is it president, something like that, CEO, I don't know how these titles be working, but Warner Brothers Discovery said he looking to spend some money. Go on a buying spree. And I hope one of those buys is Ring of Honor because y'all can't just keep treating Ring of Honor like this. Because there's some really great stuff happening there. It's some really awesome stuff happening on Ring of Honor. But, everybody uses that as behind a paywall as the excuse for not watching it. And so, yeah. I just don't like how that happened. I'm going to be honest. I didn't like how that happened. But the meat match was great.
It was.
Moving on, we heard from freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy and his homeboy Hook. Well, homeboy Hook didn't really say anything. He just kind of nodded with his hood on.
He was there. We'll give him an A for being there.
A for effort, But we saw him basically, Orange Cassidy was like, you know what, I don't really care about this championship no more. I mean, I'm still a champion, but I just want to beat Jon Moxley. That's it. I just want to beat Jon Moxley. I am sorry, I'm looking at something in the corner, hoping that this doesn't fall and get really loud in here. But I am hoping that, Jon Moxley, he shows up to Full Gear and I'm going to beat him up and I'm going to get even and then I can go back to normal. I just only can think about you leaving me in a puddle of my own blood. He's still wearing the bloody t-shirt, all of that. And so the men are fighting again.
Yes, they're tussling.
The men are emotional again. And it's getting really, really weird. But so he said his piece. His piece was a lot shorter. We heard from him. Obviously, the match is set for Full Gear. Did you have any thoughts on that?
I did not.
All right. And then we heard from Jon Moxley.
It's like an episode of Jerry Springer. You hear one side and then you hear the other right after.
And so we basically hear from Jon Moxley. He got Yuta in the corner, talk about some Hook. Yeah.
He said, pretty boy.
Pretty boy, when I see you, I said, Hook, you don't even talk. I said, not Hook. You don't even talk like that. You've been hanging around the BCC for too long. You don't even talk like that, sir. But anyway, keep in mind, this is right after Jon Moxley has been in Japan raising hell. If you have not seen it yet, at New Japan Power Struggle this past weekend in Osaka, Japan, Jon Moxley has zero respect for the people who set up them chairs, set up the venue, or anything like that. He literally, and for those of you who aren't familiar, he faced Great O'Khan. Great O'Khan is a member of the United Empire. Now, I'm going to be honest, you probably think that, oh, United Empire, that's Will Ospreay people. So he must be solid. Not exactly. Great O'Khan has never been the strongest wrestler in the United Empire. Sometimes, he veers a little bit too far on the comedy side. Big guy, has a long braid. Sometimes his work doesn't connect. So when the match was first announced that Jon Moxley was going to have a match with Great O'Khan, people were like, "Oh, who came up with this?" Like the girlies were not pleased. Nobody was pleased. However, that what did the kids say? Call it cinema. That's what that was. Listen, Jon Moxley versus Great O'Khan. It moved me. I moved. They literally fought each other all up and down there. This was Mox's first match back ever since the injury. And oh my gosh, he showed his ass. He pulled out scissors out of nowhere. Renee, please start checking his pockets. Pull scissors out of nowhere. But I will say, I do respect Jon Moxley because he had a guard on the scissors. So he did so he's not just stabbing himself in the
safety first.
Safety first.
Before violence.
Uses the scissors and cut that man's hair off right then there. Cuts it off. And keep in mind, my fault. They had already had the match. They had already had a match. Got counted out like within the first 30 seconds. The match was over. They said, let's restart it. Falls count anywhere matches. They don't have falls count anywhere matches a lot in Japan. I can't really think of another one. He just does this because Jon Moxley just does what he does. So anyway, did all that. Then David Finlay ruins the main event, whatever, yada, yada, yada. He comes back to America and basically is like, Orange Cassidy, I still want to fight. And matter of fact, I don't even want to wait till Full Gear. As soon as you get off that plane at LAX, we scrap it. I want you in the
Can they not scrap in the arrivals area? Because it's already busy over there. Like, they need to take it to, like, the rental car facility, somewhere else.
I said, Mox, why do you want to wrestle in legitimately one of the worst airports in the country?
It's chaos. I feel like he wants chaos.
Like, now you want to you want to fight, bleed, and get on the no-fly list at the same time?
Honestly, I can see Mox and Orange kicking ass, and then Mox goes back in there, and I think there's like an Air One in there. There's it's the Earth Cafe. I can see Mox going to the Earth Cafe, enjoying a meal after he kicks Orange Cassidy's ass.
Can you imagine, because these people are like, I would hope that they got a little bit of money. Like, can you imagine going into like the Delta Fly Lounge, like the airline lounge, with all these important people and their suits and stuff, you just bleeding, just live. And the Admiral's Club just vibing. Very, very unserious people. Up next, we have, they announced that next week we're going to get a preview tag. It's going to be Jon Moxley and Wheeler Yuta versus Orange Cassidy and Hook.
Yes.
So that's happening next week on Dynamite. Next, the women, the fun stuff. We had Red Velvet's return. She came back from a knee injury. She was out for 9 months, and she looked absolutely incredible tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she performed incredible. She doesn't seem to have missed a beat. And if I'm not mistaken, is this Julia's first match back? Or is it her second match back since her?
It is her second match. I I believe she had a match last week. Did she? I don't remember. But it was her birthday today. Happy birthday, my spooky queen.
Yes, happy birthday. Like, it's hard to believe, like, she's only 22 years old. And, like, she's so accomplished.
I did want to add in before we move along. So Red Velvet has been out for a significant amount of time. And it's very interesting to think about the layout of her wrestling career when she left. She was with Jay Cargill, wrapping up with Jay Cargill, with the baddies. And Jade has left. You have Kiera Hogan, who is on Ring of Honor occasionally, might be on Collision. You have Layla Gray, who's on Ring of Honor as well. But her whole trajectory has changed. And I really think that's interesting for her to kind of come back, and now she's able to stand on her own 2 feet and kind of figure out where to go next.
Yeah, I think that, you know, she had already like started to phase out of the baddie verse right before she got injured. But I feel like she's been one of those talents who is like the potential's always been there, but like she was on the cusp of something because I feel like she was getting better in every single match. She was looking more confident every single match, and then she got hurt. And the only person I could really compare it to is like if anybody remembers like last year when Penelope Ford was really heating up. Like she was getting singles matches pretty regularly. It was clear that it looked like AEW was trying to do something with her, really build something with her. Because like for a while, like Red Velvet was getting like consistent singles matches on Dynamite and Rampage right before she got hurt. So I'm interested to see like how she crafts the total package, because I think that her in-ring definitely looks more confident, but it's going to be interesting to see what her character and like just like her everything else looks like going forward. But this was a great start. She was pulling moves out I didn't even know she could do. I said, now hold on. But Miss Julia, 10s across the board.
Yes, very good match.
8 down. This was so good. I just feel like they just made the best out of all their time. One thing I can't say about the AEW girls, I want them to have more matches. I want them to have more time, but they take that time that they get, especially in these last couple weeks, and they are making the most out of it. Like, this was a really good match, and like they packed a lot into it. I feel like it was just a lot. The crowd was into it. Like, you know, the Let's Go Velvet, Julia chants, like the crowd was hot. Like, this is the energy that we need for all the women's matches going forward. Like, really boost the girlies up, because like they nailed it.
Right, they did.
And so I was really proud. Obviously, Julia gets the win here after a beautiful moonsault. Maybe one of the best ones she's ever done. That moonsault was gorgeous. Good God, it was gorgeous. Afterwards, you see Julia still had Red Velvet in the submission. Now that was very nasty and very rude. Very nasty and very rude. Obviously, then Sky Blue's music comes out, and then they are standing face to face with each other. You know, spooky bitch to spooky bitch with the eyes to the eyes. And then Chris Statlander, God is good. Ooh.
Chris, this outfit, I can see it in the screenshot, but I need to see the actual full outfit, because I was like, this is bedazzled. You hear me? That I love her fit tonight.
Good. Listen, I'll wait the whole hood up about you. I swear, Chris Statlander, you are more than a woman to me. You are more than a woman to me.
Ooh. She killed that fit tonight. I need the whole outfit. I hope Brainbuster was backstage taking photos, because I need to duplicate this.
Yeah. Like Willow's beautiful as always, but
I love Willow.
Good God. Chris Statlander, you will always be famous to me. You will always be famous to me. Man, whew, more than a woman. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And so, whew, the girlies were having to stare off. You see, Willow was in the corner helping Red Velvet, but it looks like, unless that we're just blind, it looks like another women's match will be added to Full Gear. And I anticipate it to either be a triple threat match between Chris, Sky, and Julia, or maybe a four-way match with Chris, Sky, Julia, and Willow, or possibly a singles match with Chris and Sky, and then obviously with shenanigans of all the other people who are associated. Who knows? But this was all very well done. This segment, very well done. The girlies have my intrigue. Like, they have my intrigue. I know a lot of people didn't care for the spooky eye lore, but I feel like it's been done very tastefully. I feel like it's been done very well. Like, they've really given us nothing to dislike. I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's been done very well. I love the idea of Willow being misted, but she was just too good. She's just too pure and overcame the darkness. But Sky want to be a bad girl, so it's taking her over. You know, like,
she needs a detox.
Like, they could easily just, like, you know, done, like, you know, just, oh yeah, turned everybody heel, just like, but no, I feel like it's been taking twists and turns, and like, even with the Chris thing, like, she's just like, yes, Scott, thank you for choosing the right side. And she said, girl, I'm not here for you. I'm not here for you.
Okay, vocals.
No, that's from Hamilton. If you've ever seen what's it? I'm never gonna be. I'm trying to think. It was one of the songs, but it's like after Alexander Hamilton gets in trouble for cheating, and he expect like Angelica Schuyler to come take his side, and she like, no, I'm here for my sister. You playing in my face, yada yada. But that's neither here nor there. But you know, she's like, I'm not here for you, Willow. I'm Willow friend. That's the only person here that I'm loyal to. Like, I don't even like you, and so. And Willow just like, I'm everybody's friend. Like, hey, y'all, leave me out of it. My name Bennett and I ain't in it. So that's been really cool. I really enjoy this. And also Julia just a bad bitch. Like, she just commands. Like, for her to be 22 years old and to have this much presence of just, especially against like a stallion like Chris Statlander, a true stallion in every, more than a woman. Yes, she is. It takes talent. That's talent.
Absolutely.
Moving on to more women's business. Oh, boom! There it is. Woo! Woo!
So this was interesting when they cut to RJ City, and he said Mariah May. I was like, oh, I gasped, because this has been a rumor for months now that Mariah May wrapped up in Shimmer, that she was coming over to AEW, but I feel like she was messing with us a little bit. She went home first. She had her little family time. She was talking about how she missed her time with Stardom, and I was like, girl, is she not signing? She got us. She got us good.
Y'all, I ain't gonna lie now. I just didn't see this coming. When I saw RJ City, I'm gonna be honest, like, I didn't even think we were going to a women's segment. I thought we were going to like, shit, I don't know, like just about anything else. I didn't know. And then when they said Mariah May, when I saw my sister, my queen up on there, I said, oh my God, whoa.
She slayed. She slayed. You hear me?
I will say, like, for somebody who, if you haven't watched her Stardom run, I have plenty of recommendations. But when she first started out in Stardom, and like, she was never a bad wrestler by any chance, really, like by any means. But before, like, you could visibly see like the in-ring improvements that happened while she was in Stardom. You could tell like her character work has always been her strength.
Mm-hmm.
She was always so confident on the mic, and like, I feel like that's really hard to do, especially when you're the only person like speaking English and everybody else is speaking. So it's like what we see, like, let's say like when we were talking about Sheeta earlier, it's like the complete like reverse. And so you know, everybody might not understand what you're saying, and so like you have to really emote and like really like be over the top theatrical so people can understand and communicate with you and, you know, just understand you. But she always got that aspect from day one. Like her press conferences during Stardom were absolute must see. They were always hilarious. One of my favorites is like they did this match where they did like all the foreigners in Stardom teamed up against like some of like the Japanese girls. It was a tag match for, I forgot which show it was. Was it All Star Grand Kingdom? It might have been. And so like they teamed up with like her and Xena, who was like one of the members of Queen Club Venus, who was Australian. They teamed up with Tekla, who's from Donna Del Mondo, which she's Julia's tag team partner for people who might be familiar with Julia. But Tekla typically doesn't talk to the other foreigners because she also speaks Japanese. So they would essentially kidnap her and force her to sit there and force her to partner with them. And it's just like, Mariah's always had so much like character. She's always had she just popped off the screen. She's one of those people that I knew was going to adapt well to like TV wrestling immediately. And like her first promo, like she ate that. Like she ate that. She said, "Oh my gosh, I wanted to go to Stardom because Toni Storm went to Stardom." And like it's going to be like I said, if they stick this landing, I think this could really be a watershed moment for women's wrestling and American women's wrestling specifically, because like there are so many career parallels of just Toni was extremely young when she went to Stardom. And to this day, Toni Storm is probably the most successful foreigner in Stardom history. Like she became, in a very, very short period of time, she was the first foreigner to win the World of Stardom Championship. She was if I'm not mistaken, she's the only foreigner to ever win the 5-star Grand Prix, which is the most prestigious women's wrestling tournament in the world. And she's won the SWA belt, and she's won like just the Cinderella tournament. Like she was like, we've never really seen a foreigner be treated that way in Stardom history until Mariah May. Like, and to be quite honest, had Mariah stayed in Stardom longer, I truly believe she would have got singles gold. But during her time, she became Goddess of Stardom champion, which is the tag champion. And then she was the first foreigner to compete in the 5-star Grand Prix in, was it 4 or 5 years? Something like that. So like she was nicknamed the Foreign Ace while she was in Stardom. And so there's a lot of history there. Like the story of watching her go from understudy to one day knocking Toni upside her head is going to be crazy. Like, she's absolutely incredible. And the thing is, she's not just a pretty face. She can actually wrestle, thank God. Because, you know, sometimes people, they'll have it all there with on the mic, and then in that ring, when that bell ring, just be clueless. But no,
yeah,
she can wrestle, and she can wrestle with the best. Like, she can wrestle with the stiff Joshis, you know, like she can wrestle a Shida, she can wrestle a Yuka Sakazaki when she comes back, she can wrestle a Riho, she can wrestle a Jamie Hayter when she comes back. And that feud right there, that's money. That's money. Ugh. 10 out of 10. Nobody is happier than me.
So I made the comparison on Twitter of the Mickie James and Trish Stratus storyline. So that was in WWE in the late 2000s, where Mickie James came in. She was this obsessed fan with Trish Stratus. She was making shrines of Trish Stratus. She wanted to kiss Trish Stratus. They faced off a couple times. They faced off at Mania once. She was dressing like Trish Stratus. Like
Trish Stratus.
She was enamored. She was obsessed with Trish Stratus. And this promo that Mariah May did for her debut in AEW, it really gave off those Mickie James vibes immediately. I was like, wait a minute, are we doing this? And I saw a lot of people online that were like, oh, why are they doing that? But I don't think we should jump the gun too fast, right? I want to see the potential here. And I think with the theater aspect, the theatrical aspect of Toni Storm, the black and white, the glamour, and you have the glamour Mariah May. I really feel like they could do something here. But like you said, they just have to do it right. They need to tell the story. They need to show Mariah May, starting out as this newcomer in AEW and building it up and finally meeting Toni Storm. Like, I feel like they have something good here. They just really need to kind of ride it, and they don't need to go fast with it.
Absolutely. I think that this is a slow burn. And I think, like, what you can do a story like this, and would be likened to it too. Like, this can kind of be almost like the Wardlow MJF story with a proper payoff, because that one just didn't well. But the actual story build of, like, him working for MJF, and then finally you're rooting for Wardlow to get from under his thumb and, like, be his own man. Like, I think that's basically what we can do here. And I think, like, Mariah, the glamour, that's always been who she was. Like, that was one of her first gimmicks. Like, when she came, like, even before she went to Stardom, like, coming up through the UK, there's just so many parallels there. Like, there's so many commonalities. Like, I even think, like, it's so interesting. Like, Mariah's wearing red when, Toni used to wear red all the time. Like, that used to be her thing before the black and white thing. And even now, Toni wears, they'll have the all black and white picture, but Toni's in red lipstick. So it's like, it's the subtle notes that they're already getting right that make me think, like, okay, this can be really good, like, and at the end of the day, these two are really great character people, but from bell to bell, they're also two of the best women's wrestlers in the world.
I guess let me ask you this. A lot of people were a little bit disgruntled that she was introduced in a backstage promo with RJ City. How would you have introduced her better if you think that this was not adequate?
I'm going to be honest. I think that this was perfect. Because at the end of the day, let's just be real. And how do I say this? AEW, and it's not even just AEW audiences, it's professional wrestling audiences. I think, let's not delude ourselves that everybody watches Stardom. Stardom is not very, like, I love Stardom, but and especially even compared to New Japan, Stardom isn't the most accessible thing in the world. It's actually not accessible at all. It's pretty terrible streaming service, to be quite honest. And it's an awful pay-per-view structure. So you have to put in extra effort to really be a fan of Stardom. Or if you didn't know her from Stardom, you might know her from Rev Pro, which is even bigger niche. That's British wrestling, right? So throwing her out to the wolves like that and having her potentially, like, flop or nobody, like, cheer or anything, that's not how you want to introduce her. You want to introduce her where she can be on the mic and talk, and people can hear her. They can hear her motivations. They can hear her briefly talk about where she's been. And they can also present her as if, like, okay, because she's on screen right now, she's important. And so for me personally, I felt like it was great. And I'm going to be honest, as a person who actually watched Stardom, just everybody who actually watched Stardom, most people were like, that was good. Like, it's always going to, what I've realized is that you're always going to have people who don't watch a product who are talking about how things could have been better, of just like, no, like, women who come from that Joshi background, I don't expect you to know them. I'm going to be honest, half the time when they do come out there and AEW does throw them to the wolves, then you want to be like, why did they do that?
Yeah.
Like, there's no amount of introduction that they could have done, like, so I thought this was great. And, like, the thing is, if you want to learn more about her, you can. She told you she was in Stardom, right? So you can go look. Same thing like that Julia WWE stuff. It's just like, there's so many people just like, oh my God, well, name 5 Julia matches right now. Look around, everybody on mute. Like, let's just be real. Of just, I don't delude myself. Like, a lot of people are very online. Like somebody said in the chat, Kyrie got no pop in Saudi. Like, you don't want, and that's one of the most decorated women's wrestlers of all time in the world. And Kyrie got no pop. I had a major PLE. So no, this is like AEW wants to set Mariah up for success. She is a star. I truly believe that Mariah May, Willow Nightingale, Toni Storm, and Jamie Hayter, that's your future. That's your future. Those are your pillars. Those are your pillars for the women's division going forward or the future. Those 4, that's your future. They are all under 30. They are all under 30. Like, these are the people you build around. And so they know this. And so I'm fine with it. I'm so excited. That's my girl, y'all. That's my girl. She was my first big interview for people who didn't know. Like, she was my first big interview when I started like doing this wrestling media stuff, and she was Goddess of Stardom champion back then. Like, and so like I can't believe she's all elite. That's just beautiful. Oh my gosh, like, just amazing. And lastly,
we did have a squash match. We did have a squash match. Oh yeah,
we did. I forgot.
Between the Gun Club. Yes, the Gun Club and the Bollywood Boys. Very short match, but it was to put over the Gun Club before their match with MJF and his unknown partner at Full Gear. Yes. Like I said, it was a squash match, but I thought the end was interesting. So I don't think we hear Colton speak a lot. He seems like he's a little bit more towards the back. He lets Austin do the talking. Austin's the theater kid, right?
You know,
playing from Lyrics iPhone.
Oh, that wasn't what I was trying to do. I was actually trying to pull up the I was trying to see if I had a screenshot, but I agree. Colton doesn't talk a lot, and I see why sometimes.
Yeah, I felt like he wasn't confident in what he was saying. He tried, though. That's all that matters. He tried.
I will say, I feel like what I do like about AEW sometimes, and I feel like they're getting back to this, and they got back to this a little bit with this episode, and I really appreciated it. And it was something that they did really well last year. And they're young guys who they know they can't talk. They just throw them in the water. Like, they just throw them in the water. Like, Wheeler Yuta was one of those people, right? Like, Wheeler Yuta's first couple of promos when he first joined the Blackpool Combat Club were fucking awful. Like, good God, pretty terrible. However, they kept throwing him in the water. They threw him in the water versus MJF. They kept throwing him in the water against people who can talk, and he just gradually got better. Is he the best talker on the roster? By any means, no. But there is a huge difference between Wheeler Yuta now and Wheeler Yuta a year ago. Right. And so I think that that's the exact same thing that's happening right now with the Guns. It's very clear that the Guns is one of those foundational teams that AEW wants to use to build for their future. Austin can already talk. We get it. But for the Guns to truly become who they need to be, we have to develop Colton too. Right. And so I feel like that's what's happening. You know, it was a little shaky. Sound it out, baby. Sound it out. But
he did state the facts. You know, they've been a tag team for 3 years now. They've been a solid tag team, right? Absolutely. And then Austin obviously got on the mic with his shenanigans. They did the Suck It, Gun Club or Guns Up. But, I mean, they got their point across, but we still don't know who MJF's partner is. Exactly. So it's like, okay, y'all can be prepared all you want. But if he brings Samoa Joe to the dance, are y'all going to be ready?
We're going to have Samoa Joe vacate one ROH title and pick up another. Ain't that something? Anyway. But yes, I appreciate Colton trying, and, you know, he's getting more comfortable. I can even see there's been a lot of growth from just when the Guns first, like, were introduced as a part of Bullet Club Gold to now. There's been a lot of growth, both in ring and out of it. Like, working with guys who are great on the mic, like Jay White and Juice Robinson, has only helped them. And speaking of which, Jay White had a great promo in this episode. He smoked MJF. I'm really glad they didn't do that in front of a live crowd, because it was about to get real disrespectful around here.
Mark Briscoe had a pretty good promo on Jay White. He called him a rat. He said you couldn't grow a beard. You look like a rat. I was like, oh,
supposed to be you a grown ass man, a rat. A grown ass rat. I said, oh. Listen, let me tell you something. Country people, there's nobody who do it better. There's nobody who do it better. I will say, the man was talking that talk tonight. People was talking that talk. I will say, this is the best mic night that
an open mic night or just a mic night?
Who the hell told you Like, this was
open mic night.
Long live Brandy. Anyway, but no, seriously, this was one of the best mic nights for AEW in a while, because I'm gonna be honest, Dynamite, for me personally, the mic time and the promos had become a chore to get through. It had been too much hokey comedy stuff. It was too much bestie shenanigans. I will say they did have that at the beginning of the show, but I got over it. I was on my Zoom. I don't know. And but for the most part, everybody who had a mic tonight hit their targets on the nail.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody who had a mic, the women, the men, everybody was very to the point. Everything hit, from the Kenny and Jericho, the Bucks, Jay White, Mark Briscoe, John Moxley, Orange Cassidy, Mariah May, Sheeta, Tony Storm. Everything hit, Samoa Joe, MJF somewhat. Everything really hit and like got the point across, and it felt urgent. Like, the pay-per-view was next week. We're setting this card. Be there or be square. Like, I feel like the point got across. And so that was something that I really did enjoy from tonight's Dynamite, because these last couple weeks, it was getting a little, y'all had me in the first half, I'm not going to lie. But moving on, we had the match, Mark Briscoe versus Jay White. I'm going to be honest, these two fighting on national television feels like a fever dream. This match graphic just don't look crazy to y'all. Like that these two are in a ring together, like that's kind of insane.
Yeah.
But it was really cool. Mark Briscoe, I meant to tweet this, but I'm like, who has a better elbow? Is it Mark Briscoe or is it Kyrie? Like, they have the two best. I think they have the two best elbows in the game: the insane elbow and the froggy bow.
I would put HBK up there.
Oh, that's fair. That's really fair.
I have HBK on. That's why I remembered.
I have on Bruiser Brody today.
Okay, now.
Jay Briscoe said Bruiser Brody ain't wearing no mouthpiece. Terry Funk ain't wearing no mouthpiece. Yeah. I couldn't find my Briscoe shirt today, so I wore my Bruiser Brody shirt just for him. Bruiser Brody ain't wearing no mouthpiece. And so, but this was really good. King Switch, he continues to be the gift that keeps on giving in AEW. Amen. Can I get amen? Amen. Mark Briscoe has looked great since he's returned from his knee injury. He's been through a lot this year, but he just, he's one of those, he has a radiant personality, and I think like he's one of those people that just pops off the screen and has adapted really well. You would never know that he's never been on this big of a stage before, as far as like TV wrestling, but he's just adapted so well. And obviously he lost the match, but I think that this puts him in prime position possibly to go after that vacated ROH television title, because before he got injured, he said that title was his destiny. And so I would love to see him finish his story at Final Battle. And so that's just around the corner. And then, Jay White wins this match. And then MJF comes back. Finally, he had this sense of urgency trying to knock everybody out. Still don't
yelling.
Just yelling. Still he still ain't got his belt back though. But then suddenly we cut to backstage. The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass are getting beat up and
thrown through the glass.
Now my thing is, if I was Anthony Bowens, you couldn't have paid me to take that. And the reason why is this Max Caster friend. Why I gotta go through the glass? Now I get in it. Put this motherfucker through the glass.
You know what's interesting? I don't know if other people were like really paying attention, but I was trying to eye everybody who was attacking the Acclaim, because I'm like, there has to be at least like one person that I could recognize. Nada. I couldn't recognize any of them. And then I'm like, well, dang, who could it be? And then, of course, they cut to the devil, and I'm like, I don't know who it is. Who is this person?
We're going to have to find out at Full Gear.
We have to. I mean, this person is taking out every single person who has meant something or kind of meant something to MJF. They've attacked Jay White now. They've attacked the Acclaimed. Who's next?
You know what? They're going to have somebody show up to Adam Cole house. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me not say that, because if it happened for real, y'all going to owe me a check.
We've seen too many home invasions this month.
I ain't gonna lie, that's one of my favorite tropes in wrestling. I can always do another home invasion, especially like, well, Adam McCall. Like, imagine like him just sitting in his little room streaming his life away.
But you know what I keep going back to? I keep going back to the person that said it's Britt Baker, because we have not seen Britt Baker. Britt Baker is not injured. Okay, Britt Baker is healthy. Britt Baker is usually on AEW television, so I'm kind of like,
you know, they did say she took some time off to, you know, take care of Adam Cole, and she been posting TikToks from the dentist office lately.
She has,
but maybe the dentist is trying to get us off her smell. You know, like, I'm not gonna lie. Now today, I have never been a believer in the Britt Baker theory, but I am more open to it now than I've ever been. I will say that. I am more open to the devil being Britt Baker than I've ever been.
I would like to see a woman-led group like that. Like, I think that would just be so interesting, that to have a woman leading all these men, telling them who to attack. Like, I would love it.
Last call for slam chats. If you love us.
Yes, if you enjoyed the Dynamite book this week, we opened our second page here.
Chapter 2.
Yes, chapter 2.
But yes, so that's where we are. MJF can't save nobody. So,
but Samoa Joe, he got jokes. That's a funny man right there.
But you know what, though? But it showed us that it's not Joe. Well, I mean, we kind of knew that because nobody really fit his build, but you know, he was still in his shorts and like his towel.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but when they cut to MJF running backstage, there was like a group of people watching. There were a group of wrestlers watching this beatdown that happened. And I want to go back.
That doesn't surprise me, though, because that's also the thing, too, that where it could really be anybody, because MJF has screwed over most of the roster.
That's true.
And so it's a lot of people who really are just going to be content. Even if they're not doing the beating, they are content to watch him get his ass beat.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing when Wardlow did a pre-tape talking about how, Max, you took everything from me. You treated me like crap, and I'm going to kill you. Like, he's not wrong.
Do you think it's Wardlow? Do you think Wardlow has involvement in this group? What if it is a gathering? What if it's the He-Man MJF haters club, like the Little Rascals, and it's all the people that don't like MJF, taking out all his...
I mean, it could be... What if it was like old members of, like, not the Revival. What's the
Firm.
Not the Firm. What's his old group? FTR used to be in there.
It's not the Firm. It was I forgot the name of it.
Not the Pillars. Not the infantry. I almost called them infantry. Those people are black. That's not them.
I do know who you're talking about. I don't think it's them. I really don't think it's them.
The Pinnacle. Yes,
the Pinnacle.
Thank you, Kyle.
I don't think so.
What if it's Sean Spears in it? Some people on Twitter, they had the theory of, what if it's Griff Garrison, and if it's Cole Carter, because over on ROH, obviously Maria has not been with the Kingdom, but she's been recruiting guys to do her bidding. So there, and a girl as well. There's been Layla Hirsch as well. So that's also a thought. What if it's them? It could be a lot of people. At one point, I thought it was Daniel Garcia. And then after tonight, I don't think it's Daniel Garcia. So yeah, I'm gonna be honest.
We need Olivia Benson. We need Law and Order. Somebody needs to do the investigation, because every single week I'm like, who is it?
We need Olivia Pope.
Reveal yourselves.
We need Olivia Pope. Handle it. That's what we need. So I'm not gonna lie. The Britt Baker theory is becoming more and more enticing. Like, it's getting more and more enticing. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, the dentist would make a lot of sense. And I'm gonna be honest, having her in a managerial role for a while, especially while you like work out some new faces in the women's division, I think it's a very fascinating concept. Like, everybody's criticisms of DMD are her wrestling. Everything else she does is pretty great. It is pretty great. Like, I've never seen her miss on the mic.
No.
Never. And she ain't never missed on a look, so.
I know that's right.
Mm-hmm.
I love a good Britt Baker look. The sneakers.
My favorite way on left field theory I've seen on social media is that it's Danhausen. Let me tell y'all, if it's Danhausen, I am no longer all elite.
Yeah, I don't know if I would like the Danhausen idea.
I'm a head out dog. But you know, if that's what y'all want, actually no, absolutely not. Some of y'all don't deserve rights.
I mean, does anybody else think it's Britt Baker? I need to take to Twitter to investigate because I haven't seen that theory in a couple weeks.
Oh, somebody said, what if it's Jack Perry teamed up with the Kingdom and Roddy? Now listen, that is probable. Now I have heard that one. I have heard that one. Jack Perry. Listen, man.
And Jack Perry been hitting the gym. So
bring the savior back. Bring the savior back.
Jack Perry has been hitting the gym. So if it is Jack Perry, we might not be able to recognize his body build.
Ooh, bring back our savior.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Bring back the savior. That's right, Jack Perry. But also, how do he be getting all his hair under that mask? He got a lot of hair.
He probably just braids it.
Oh, okay. What if it's House of Black? I will say now, House of Black, y'all can't be for everybody. Now y'all done knocked out everybody on Collision. Now there's too many storylines.
Yeah,
this is too many storylines. If it's them.
And honestly, it wouldn't be believable for me if it was House of Black, and I'm going to tell you why. If they have these stand-ins who are attacking MJF, could you at least get someone that's big that maybe could pass as Brody King?
Absolutely, and also respectfully. You're never going to convince me that any of the men are the leader. No shade, but Julia runs that faction.
Thank you.
Yeah. So there's that. I'm going to read some of our last slam chats. I was part of a beer bash in the middle of a ring at ECW Arena with Sandman, the Young Bucks, Bobby Roode, and Austin Aries. The Young Bucks gave me their beers, so I guess I have to root for the Bucks. Hey, man, listen, this is a Young Bucks safe environment. This is me. I have one of the 1,000 exclusive sneakers that they released. Okay, I have it at Full Gear last year. My get up was Young Bucks themed. Like right now, you see on my keychain right now is wait for it. I have an elite keychain.
Oh, how cute!
Okay? This is a Bucks friendly zone. Okay, so. But they're not gonna win. I'm sorry. I done took too many L's. I done went to too many pay-per-views this year and seen Kenny Omega lose. I can't do it again. I can't do it again. If Kenny Omega loses another pay-per-view with me in attendance, we gonna have some problems.
We might have to check you out because you might be the bad luck charm, girl.
Well, he lost some before I even started. Well, but he lost the ones I wasn't at either. So it's not me.
Okay, somebody is coming to the same events you are that is Kenny Omega's bad luck charm.
Yeah, it's not me because he lost the ones that I wasn't even at.
She said, I am acquitted.
Yes, I am acquitted because I wasn't at All Out and he lost it All Out. And he lost at Revolution too. And he lost at Double or Nothing.
I was at those.
Yes.
Maybe it's the Dynamite Book. The Dynamite Book curse. On Kenny Omega.
He lost at All In, he lost at Wrestle Dream, and he lost at what's the other one? Forbidden Door. And so it's above me now. So it's not me, but whoever it is needs to stop. And so Young Bucks, I'm sorry, but you can't win this one. So but I'm gonna be honest, I'm cool with it. I'm gonna be honest, the Young Bucks really actually need to win this one because one, Kenny got to stop teaming up with Chris Jericho. And two, Young Bucks need to get back into the tag picture and save the tag division because Redacted ruined it.
I don't know who Redacted is.
Redacted tag team, the one who be in my mentions.
And with that, this has been such a fun episode of the Dynamite Book. I've had a blast. Have you all? I've had a blast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to follow us on social media and keep the good vibes going, you can find Wrestling Wind Down at WWDCAST. We have merchandise, the Bad Bitches 4 Daniel Garcia shirt that was shown on AEW Dynamite tonight, as well as some other renditions. And we have some other stuff coming up as well. We're going country tomorrow, baby. We're bringing out some country western-esque vibes. Shop.wrestlinglv.com. If you want to listen to the pod, it's on all of your favorite streaming platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and iHeartRadio. And you can find me at Lyric Wrestling on Twitter and Instagram. Have some big interviews coming up. One is going to be released this week. Hyan. We recorded it earlier this week. We're both Star Wars nerds. That was a lot of fun. Anything else that I can share right now? I don't know. But it's lots of fun stuff coming. Next week, you'll get full gear content from us. Well, maybe the week after. Maybe the week after. So, like the week after next, expect full gear content from us because we'll be in LA, and so it's gonna be a fun time. It will be. It's gonna be a fun time. But until next time, we will see you all. Have a great night. Bye. Bye.